Hi everyone, welcome back to the MGM Experience episode 2. First off, I just wanted to say thank you to the people who watched my previous video and commented and subscribed. I didn't know what to expect, but I was happy to see so much support, so I really appreciate it. So it seems like my last video caused quite a bit of controversy. I acknowledged that at the end of my video, I didn't want to start my video with pointless negativity, so I just left it at the end of my video if you want to hear my response. In my last video, I had someone ask what is an MGM. An MGM is a person who has multi-generational mixed heritage. This term was very new to me as well until I found the channel Exoticals United. Shout out to her and the community of other mixed people. I actually learned a lot from her channel and others. So basically an MGM person is someone whose family has been mixing for multiple generations. For this video, I'm talking about Black MGMs mostly, but this term also applies to Latinos and Creoles and people with mixed parents and grandparents. That's just the general definition. The link I'm gonna put in the description, I think her name is Creole Lady Marmalade. She explains it so well, and I actually learned a lot from that video, so I encourage you guys to watch that one if you want to get more information. Well, I'll start off with using Latinos as an example just because my last video was about an Afro-Latina. So I think most of us know that Latinos are mixed usually. Mestizos, as an example, they have been generationally mixed with Indigenous and Spanish for centuries, and they just kept mixing basically. And then you have the Caribbean Latinos who may have African heritage, so they might have Indigenous heritage, African heritage, and Spanish heritage, and then they just kept mixing throughout the years. Some examples I can think of are Dominicans. When you think of a Dominican person, you think of a specific look, right? And I do realize that the connotation of Black does vary in Afro-Latino cultures, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're saying they're part of the Black American community. They're just saying that they're Black. So both sides of my family actually have a lot of different admixtures and mixtures and whatnot. So they've quite literally been mixing for generations. With my dad's side, they've always considered themselves Black, and I've always considered them Black, but they made it known that there was some white ancestry going on my grandfather's side due to the way my great-grandfather looked. When I was researching my grandfather's paternal side, I did a lot of digging. I was able to find some slave records, and I was actually surprised. It actually was a mixed emotions. One, because you see the reality of slavery in these records, and second, because I actually found pictures from distant cousins of a fourth great grandfather from slavery. So it's oh my goodness, what a surprise. You actually have these records, because you hear people say you're not able to trace your Black ancestry because of slavery and lost records, but I was able to, and in a way it's kind of a moment, I don't know if it's a great moment, but it's a historical moment for sure. And then when I was researching the other side of his paternal family, I noticed that I wasn't able to go as far back as I was able to with the other side. And I was wondering why that was. And my theory was that there was something sinister, obviously. with the fourth great grandfather that I was able to find back from slavery. I could see like his children and who his children married and so on. But on the other side, it just stopped. It was like one person. And I'm like, that's odd. I have a theory. There was some, the R word going on, unfortunately, it's very sad reality. So I kept digging, and then I found out where the bloodline stopped with this particular person. He was actually listed as mulatto. So in a way, that was actually kind of a shock for me too. Once again, you're like coming to terms with the reality of it. But at the same time, it was kind of just like an interesting piece of history. So with the mulatto family member, I was able to see that he married a woman who was also a mulatto, and then it kept going on for a few more generations, and then it seemed to stop, and they seemed to marry people that were listed as black. And then they had my grandfather, and my grandfather actually married a woman who I found out was mixed, which is my grandmother. Now, as for my grandfather's maternal side, I know that his mother was a black woman. Unfortunately, I was not able to trace her ancestry all the way back. I know that she died at a young age. So I would have to go by word of mouth to find out more information about her. I'll talk more about my personal experience in another video, but I never felt like I could completely 100% fit into the black community, and I could never really fit into the Hispanic community 100%. I couldn't really fit into the biracial community 100%. So, I mean, once I found the term MGM, I ran with it. So I consider myself a black MGM. Basically, I have grandparents that are mixed, I have a Hispanic grandmother, and I have a mixed mother. So I'm recording the second half kind of sick. Well, I'm not sick anymore, but I was recovering from losing my voice a little bit. So if my voice sounds weird, please excuse that. But on that note, moving on to the term fluid identity, that just basically means embracing all parts of you as a mixed person. When you have fluid identity, you can move in and out of those cultures and ethnicities as much as you want because you have those cultures and ethnicities. Since mixed people come in all shades, all different skin tones and hair textures and facial features, I think we can identify with whatever we want at this point. Whether that's black, Hispanic, or just mixed. At this point, it's like, who cares what others label you as? Because if you feel like people are never satisfied with how you identify, then it's like, F what they think. Let's say you're an MGM with primarily black ancestry, but someone is constantly bringing up your differences, such as your hair texture or your skin tone, then it's like, why not embrace that part of you more? For example, I felt like I've had to tone down my hair texture in front of certain family members because I would think like, oh, they think I'm showing off my hair or I'm showing off my type 3 hair. I don't want them to think that I'm trying to make them jealous because I know that they have insecurities about their hair. So let me just tone it down. Let me wear my hair up more. But then I'm just like, wait, why am I doing that for? Like, them being insecure is not my problem. Them being jealous is not my problem. Now, I'm not saying that my hair is better than everyone's because it's like type 3 or whatnot. I've had my own insecurities with my own hair, but I've learned to embrace my hair. I've learned how to do my hair, which made me love my hair even more. I think all hair textures are beautiful from type 1 to type 4C. Like, I love black people's hair in general, but it's not my job to make insecure people comfortable anymore, you know? I hope this makes sense. Like, yes, you can uplift people, but if someone is like constantly insecure and you tried your best to uplift them, it is no longer your job to satisfy them or to make them comfortable. And the reason I really loved the term fluid identity is because, it allows you to express yourself and to validate your own features. And it helps me embrace myself a little bit more and to love my features a little bit more. And anyone who gets mad at the fact that you want to say that you're black or you're Hispanic or you're mixed, literally they're just mad or envious that they can't do the same. But I also think people who are upset when a mixed person wants to call themselves black, or when a black passing mixed person wants to call themselves like Hispanic, they have Hispanic ancestry. I really think people who get upset about that, I'm not just talking about black people, I'm talking about Hispanics, whites, etc. I honestly think they do not like mixed people at all. I think they are racist towards, or not racist, but prejudiced towards your other ethnicities. Like, I've experienced racist Mexicans, I've experienced black people who are just disgusted by mixed people in general. And to that, I say, don't pay them no mind. Like, there are channels out there who really do not like mixed people at all. And it's like, imagine if the roles were reversed and someone was constantly talking down on dark skinned people or black people. It would be flagged as racist. I no longer think that we should have to tone down our blackness or tone down our mixed heritage just to make somebody else feel better. And my response to the last creator I talked about in my video, I noticed how most of her content is about mixed people instead of uplifting people she sees as black. Anyway, my point about that still stands. You're not going to bully someone out of a space, blackness, for example, just because you feel some type of way about it. It sounds like she's projecting the whole victim mindset or whatever, because she keeps talking about how mixed people who claim black are causing the erasure of black people, of, like, I'm guessing, like, the typical dark skin black person. Just because someone wants to call themselves black doesn't mean they're gonna erase the whole black identity. Like, be for real, grow up. Mixed people have been calling themselves black for generations. Yes, part of that is because of the whole one drop thing, but if they feel comfortable moving through the world as a black person, then let them. Who are you to dictate? You're not the head counsel of the black community. Like, girl, grow up, get a grip. It's okay. If you feel so insecure to the point of crying about how mixed people are taking over the black identity, then I think you need to do some inner work on your own self-identity. Whenever people like her get upset about things like this, they start getting nasty. Sorry, you couldn't scare me into changing my point of view. And I also don't care if mixed people don't even want to identify with blackness. I understand if people want to separate themselves from the black community. Me personally, like, I just wouldn't feel right if I completely disassociated from the black community, because I feel like I still am a part of that, even though I've had my own issues. And if people want to be mad about that, then they can be mad about that. Some people are like, oh, well, she's talking about mixed people's issues. So is she like biracial? Is she half white? Can she even call herself black? Like, I know she looks black, but I can't exactly pinpoint what else she's mixed with. So it's like kind of funny seeing people trying to form an argument over that. And I know the concept of MGM people has people shook. People, they don't even know whether to include MGMs in like black spaces or just exclude them out of that completely. So like I said, embrace what the F you want to embrace. Who cares what people think?